Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, David O'Byrne has stepped aside as leader of the opposition, while allegations of sexual harassment against him are investigated by the party. For more, our reporter Meg Sides joins us now. Meg, when did these allegations come to light?
Well, Kim, we heard those allegations for the first time earlier today. We know a complaint has been handed to the party secretary, but it's unclear when it was made. Just a few hours ago, the opposition leader read this statement to media outside Parliament, and that's when he announced he would be stepping down while the investigation takes its course. Here's what he had to say. David O'Byrne emerging from Parliament, pre-written statement in hand. After just 2 weeks as the leader of the Labor Party,
I will be standing aside as opposition leader today for the duration of the investigation into this matter.
That matter, sexual harassment allegations, published today after a complaint was made to the State Labor Party secretary.
At the time of the reported events, I genuinely believed the kiss and the text exchanges to be consensual. However, I now understand that this was not the case.
Saying he hasn't seen the complaint, but offering his unreserved apology to the woman for the unwanted contact and texts.
I acknowledge that my behaviour did not meet the standards I would expect of myself. I also acknowledge I've let down my wife and family.
It's understood the interactions occurred more than a decade ago. Deputy Leader Anita Dowd to step up in his absence. The Premier informed of the reports just moments before his afternoon press conference.
These sorts of things are always a surprise, and I've made the point on many occasions around these sorts of matters. I'm not judge, jury nor executioner. I need to take advice.
The leader of the Greens says she acknowledges the courage it takes for someone to come forward with allegations of this nature.
Every time a woman who believes they were sexually harassed or mistreated by a male in the workforce comes forward, it gives courage to other women in similar positions.
The allegations now subject to an investigation within the Labor Party. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A raft of changes are on the way for Tasmanians in a frantic effort to stop coronavirus breaking down our border walls. A potential AFL match has been cancelled. Check-in changes are coming to supermarkets and masks will become mandatory at some events. But the Premier is warning it's only a matter of time before our COVID-free streak comes to an end.
It's a scene we haven't seen for more than a year. Crowds shoulder to shoulder. This was the Festival of Voices in 2019. Now that same event will go ahead, but with a major difference. For the first time in Tasmania outside airports, masks are mandatory.
We actually pre-prepared and we created our own masks and sent them out to participants.
Part of a desperate scramble to keep on top of COVID.
We've tried to plan for all contingencies, and this one was not unexpected for us.
Public Health will continue to review the need to extend mask wearing to other events and activities in line with national COVID circumstances.
Under a raft of announcements, checking in will become mandatory at the state's supermarkets and shopping centres. And in a massive loss to local sport, Launceston's upcoming AFL clash between Fremantle and Carlton has been given the boot.
We don't expect that this will have any further implications for the roster moving forward, but as with all things, we will be guided by public health.
It comes as Tasmania locks out another mainland region. Alice Springs declared high risk as it prepares to enter a 3-day lockdown.
Which means don't come unless you have an exemption.
Across the country, COVID continues to take hold. A lockdown New South Wales has recorded 22 new cases.
To date, our fears about huge escalation haven't materialised, and we certainly want to keep it that way.
In Queensland, 3 new cases and 1 new infection in Victoria. But at Melbourne Airport, passengers were tense.
The airport was absolutely mental. People everywhere. We were like sardines in a can.
There's been so many flights cancelled. Everyone's in a panic and it's just ridiculous.
Western Australia has 1 new case, and in South Australia its 200-day community COVID-free streak broken. 5 new cases, 1 family connected to a returning minor from the Northern Territory.
There's no doubt that there's a slightly higher risk of a case somehow or another reaching Tasmania now than there was, for example, 3 weeks ago.
The race now on to keep COVID out. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Police have seized 21 firearms after a raid uncovered an underground bunker at Longford. Property and drugs stored in shipping containers buried in the ground to allegedly evade detection.
21 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition off the streets.
We found handguns, semi-automatic rifles, double-barrelled shotguns, plenty of ammunition, some types of grenade-type explosive devices.
The haul discovered after police raided 2 properties on Patina Road in Longford last week. They also uncovered makeshift underground bunkers, with 4 buried shipping containers allegedly housing a clandestine cannabis operation.
They're obviously installed there quite some time ago and sophisticated enough and secure enough and well hidden.
A 40-year-old has been charged with firearms, drug and property offences. Authorities expect more arrests in the coming days. The raid evidenced the gun task force is working, according to the lead detective.
What we've seen is that we had a significant reduction in the incidents that were happening at the start of the year, which is what our aim was, to slow down those incidents, to seize firearms and to charge the people responsible.
An assault on crime, they say, will continue until information dries up, but they're calling on the public to still come forward with any tips. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A Glenorchy woman is pleading with the public to help find her pets after a fire destroyed her home, causing $500,000 damage. Firefighters rescuing her and 2 neighbours after plumes of smoke thwarted an escape plan.
The charred remains of a Glenorchy home, the roof collapsing on the burnt-out structure.
There was a hell of a lot of chaos and that with fire brigades and hoses, and it was just completely ablaze. And there was embers going everywhere.
The fire breaking out around 9 o'clock last night, trapping the resident and 2 neighbours in the Kensington Street cul-de-sac.
Flames and smoke coming from the structure made it a little difficult for the resident to evacuate from the backyard, and they were trapped in the backyard for a little while, and firefighters were able to assist them in releasing them from the backyard.
It took crews nearly 3 hours to control the blaze. The search continues for the woman's dog Maxie, a cat and a parrot. But the outlook is grim. Neighbours haven't seen the pets and firefighters fear the worst. Investigations into the cause of the blaze are still underway, but firefighters say there's nothing to suggest it was deliberately lit.
This is a very dangerous situation, and again I can't reiterate enough that this really is another life saved by having a working smoke alarm fitted.
The damage bill is estimated at $500,000. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
The young and not as young have come together to create a mural in an effort to break down barriers between age groups. The collaboration between the Council of the Ageing, Cosgrove High and the Glenorchy Council aims to take participants out of their comfort zones.
It's always been my passion, and I struggle with anxiety, so doing this helps with it. Stresses me out, so doing this takes my mind off things.
When you bring people together and you learn more about the people individually and you work together to create something, those barriers are broken down.
Participants have spent 2 weeks creating the Copper Street artwork of various animal eyes. 4 men have pleaded guilty to vandalising the cenotaph in Sydney. They'd been drinking on a night out in May when they climbed onto the memorial and posed for photos, bending a bayonet out of shape. The men aged from 19 to 21 were all captured on security camera and pleaded guilty at the first opportunity. They'll be sentenced in August and face a fine of up to $2,200. When we talk about veterans of a sport, few come close to matching Tasmanian table tennis master hand Peter Dunphy. He's notching up 60 years of competitive play and can show newcomers a trick or two.
Peter Dunphy always brings his A-game to the table, having played around 10,000 matches over 6 decades.
Helps you mentally, physically.
What started as something to do after leaving school became routine, playing 3 rosters a year ever since. Long enough to see the number of points in a set drop from 21 to 11 and the colour of the ball change from yellow to white.
Faster and obviously done for TV.
But watching in real life is where Peter comes into his own. A keen advocate of the game, he can often be found alongside a professional coach midweek at the Elfin Sports Centre, giving guidance to those trying their hand.
I came in full of confidence today, but let's just say experience counts.
10 love. Table tennis was the winner.
Great to have companionship and certainly have plenty of that in table tennis.
And there's still a few serves and slices in this stalwart yet.
Well, I'd like to do another 10 years.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News. To the NBA, and the Bucks have been dealt a massive blow as star Giannis Antetokounmpo went down hyperextending his left knee.
Oh no. Oh my goodness, this is something you absolutely don't want to see.
Greek Freak in agony hobbling back to the locker room as the Hawks pulled off some incredible shots to take Game 4 110-88, with the series now locked at 2-2. Kelsey Griffin is expected to be back for the Launceston Tornadoes this weekend after being stuck in Sydney for the last round. The Tawns could have used her on Saturday night as a more intense Bendigo outfit never looked like losing. Griffin and Keely Frolling will team up on Saturday to take on Geelong's most dangerous forward.
They've got the addition of Sarah Blickabs in there who's, she's been in the WNBA and obviously then she was trying out for the Opals. So she's another big presence that we have to guard. So it's actually good Kelsey's here this weekend.
The Northwest Thunder is impressed with recruit Mike Carina, who debuted in the win over Bendigo.
We've got a pretty young team, so he's kind of someone that they're already looking up to and asking different questions, both on and off court stuff, which is great.
But the Thunder and Hobart Chargers are wary of Geelong, a team stacked with NBL stars.
They are loaded, full of talent since the NBL's finished. Whether they bring them all on the road, I'm not sure, but if you're a basketball supporter, this is the game you want to come to.
You can, Friday night for the Chargers, Saturday night for the Tawns and Thunder. The last of the midweek Premier League hockey games have wrapped up. Julia Gunn converted a chance in the second quarter for OHA, but the game wouldn't be tied up until late in the final term, when Madison Brooks secured a 2-1 victory over Canterbury in the women's match. Canterbury scraped through for an upset win in the men's, Lachlan Rogers, the sole scorer. There's more reason to be excited about Ariane Titmus ahead of the Olympics. The Tasmanian has been ranked #1 in the world for the Tokyo Games by Swimming World magazine, ahead of long-time rival Katie Ledecky. Titmus is considered gold medal favourite in the 200, 400 and 800 metres events. And Launceston's Jake Birtwistle has swept up Triathlon Australia's awards night, claiming gongs for Best Male Performance and the peer judged Athlete's Athlete of the Year.
In such an individual sport of triathlon, you become so reliant on yourself and your own feedback and you become driven by your own goals. So it's nice to kind of have this time to, be able to reflect on others' performances as well and what other people are doing in the sport.
Birtwistle has been named in the team bound for Tokyo.
Good evening. Flinders Island and Friendly Beaches the high today with 17. Hobart 14, Launceston and Devonport 15, Burnie a top of 13 degrees. King Island, St Helens and Strawn 16, Grove 15 and Lowhead 14, Liaweenie 8 today and Ooze a pretty cold day, -2 this morning ahead of a top of 7. Low-level cloud moved over the northwest of the state. Some wispy high cloud came in from northern parts. A frontal band of cloud lies over southeast and South Australia and over water to the south. The moist onshore flow has the cloud moving along the eastern coastline and also the south of WA. Tomorrow a low deep over the Southern Ocean spins a front up over the Bight as a high slides in over central Australia. The winds north-northwesterly reaching 30 knots early over the west and south but easing later, swells up to 4 metres. We have a strong wind warning, that's from southeast Cape to Sandy Cape. Hobart, a top of 15 tomorrow and partly cloudy. Cygnet 14, New Norfolk partly cloudy 14, the top after 3 overnight. A shower or 2 for Launceston, 15 the top. Showers increasing over Devonport 14 for Campbelltown with a shower or 2. 14 for Burnie with showers increasing. Wet in the west, Strawn 14, Smithton a shower and 14 degrees. St Helens expecting 16 degrees and mostly sunny. Bit of cloud over Swansea but fine and 16, 15 for Fingal after an early shower clears. Friday showers over the north, the west and central regions but mainly fine elsewhere. Similar weather for Saturday along with snow to 900 metres and on Sunday snow on the peaks again with possible showers more likely over the north, west and far south. A shower or 2 in Perth. Morning drizzle, a cool one in Adelaide, 15 there. Sunny in Melbourne tomorrow, 17 the top. Morning fog for Canberra and Sydney. Showers in Brisbane. And here's a look at the current conditions around the state. And Kim, in the news tonight, they're allowing cats to go on planes. Around my neighbourhood, they can't even keep them in their houses. How are they going to keep them on a plane?
Good point. Thanks, Merv. And that is all we have time for this evening. Good night.